Balls Head is a prominent bushland reserve located in Sydney Harbour that features an historic coal loader site. Recently, it's become a place for the local community to explore sustainable development and engage in recreational activities. This video will explore the interaction between human cultural practice and the natural environment, or biocultural values, with a closer look at the built cultural heritage, Aboriginal knowledge and native species of Balls Head. The coal loader site at Balls Head previously operated as a transfer depot for coal from 1921 to the early 1990s. The natural bushland was extensively cleared during its operation, and strong public protests eventually led to the decommission of the industrial site in 1997. Since then, the North Sydney Council have removed obsolete infrastructure and worked with community groups to revegetate the natural bushland with native species. These continued efforts have successfully repopulated the headland with coastal sandstone foreshores forest and coastal headland Banksy Heath communities. Today, Balls Head serves a variety of land uses, with much of the headland now designated reserve for nature conservation, public recreation and culture. Using CyberTracker software, an app was created to locate and record the biocultural values of Balls Head via GPS coordinates. The most prominent biocultural value at Balls Head is the Coal Loader Centre for Sustainability, which opened in 2011. Formerly the Caretaker's Cottage, this heritage building has been retrofitted with a sustainable design that incorporates solar energy, recycled materials, on-site wastewater treatment and a community garden. Here the local community can proactively learn about and partake in sustainable initiatives, all whilst preserving the site's heritage. The Coal Loader platform has also been repurposed as a rainwater harvesting and biofiltration system. Many of the old chutes and tunnels have been fitted with rain gardens and tanks that capture, filter and store rainwater. This recycled water is reused to irrigate the urban harvest plots and native gardens located on site. Remarkably, these tunnels are also home to a large colony of the threatened eastern bentwing bats that returned to Balls Head in 2012. Once an industry heavily reliant on resource consumption, the renewal of the coal loader site now showcases biocultural values of sustainable development and planet-conscious use of resources. However, sustainable resource management is not new to Balls Head. The headland was first a place of physical and spiritual sustenance for the Camaragal clan for thousands of years prior to European colonisation. The bushland, coastal foreshores and abundant waters of the peninsula provided the traditional owners with hunting and fishing grounds, a resting place and ceremonial sites. These activities remain evident today with at least 14 registered Aboriginal sites at Balls Head. A large rock carving of a whale is located near the entrance of the site and is part of an extensive group of fish, turtles and spirit figures. Further evidence of Indigenous activity includes a limestone rock hole believed to have been used for grinding seeds or storing water, and numerous cave shelters which feature hand and fish stencils, shell middens, and even burial remains. The preservation of these sites is important for ensuring the continuity of Indigenous culture and knowledge of the environment. This includes the various biocultural uses of native plant species. The Sydney red gum is easily distinguished at Balls Head by its pinkish colour and red tree sap, which was traditionally used as an adhesive for tools and even as toothache remedy. A grove of white cypress pine marks a potential Indigenous burial site or shell midden, as the species is known to thrive in calcium-rich soils. Its durable timber was traditionally used to fashion spears, ceremonial objects and paddles, and the leaves were infused in water for external application on rashes and mosquito repellent. The bunya pine is believed to have been planted by the Camaragal clan as a marker tree at which communities would gather. These gatherings involved a feast of bunya nuts and fruit, ceremonies with dance and song, as well as discussions over law, marriage and regional issues, dispute settlements and trading of goods. The spiny-headed matrush is an incredibly versatile plant that is hard to miss at Balls Head, considering its great abundance. Their tough, fibrous leaves can be woven into nets, baskets and eel traps, and the leaf base provides a source of hydration and nutrients. Its dried seeds can also be ground into flour to make damper, and the roots used to treat ant stings. 2 species of Banksia identified at Balls Head have blossoms laden with a sweet nectar that can be sucked directly from the flower or soaked in water for a sweet drink. The flowering spike is also used by Indigenous peoples as a hairbrush and the stalk as a self-sustaining fire stick. The sunshine wattle is an important medicinal plant, signal plant and food source. For example, the flowering of the wattle indicates the best time to eat oysters and fish for bream. Also, the leaves produce an antibacterial lather that can be used as disinfectant for cuts, scrapes and mosquito bites. The local community has taken the initiative to conserve these native plant species and their cultural values with the establishment of a community bushland nursery and an Indigenous bushfoods garden. The biocultural values of Balls Head are important educational tools for the sustainable use of the environment and its resources. The preservation of these values relies on the combined efforts of council, local community and traditional owners. As we've seen, the retrofitting of the coal loader has successfully upheld the historical values of Balls Head, and various restoration works are currently underway to preserve the remaining built cultural heritage. The preservation of Indigenous culture, however, will require the active consultation and involvement of Indigenous communities. Access to country is important for maintaining Aboriginal identity and provides them with the opportunity to care for country. For instance, fire stick burning practices by Indigenous rangers can promote the health and long-term sustainability of the bushland whilst allowing individuals to connect with the land. This is particularly relevant in the urban context of Bull's Head, where habitat fragmentation is an increasing threat for species such as the eastern bent-winged bat. The re-establishment of wildlife corridors between these remnant patches of bush can assist in the migration and genetic diversity of endangered native species. Overall, a biocultural approach towards conservation is required that integrates sustainable Indigenous practice with modern scientific methods. By acknowledging and respecting the traditional owners of the land, much can be learned and gained by the community.